Let's make this episode a special one by just being ourselves and loving ourselves just the way we are. Let go. Hey, we got Trump live. It's election day, 2024, November 5th. My baby birthday. Let go. We got Trump live. Let's go. See what he's talking about.
And nobody talks about it. I said, this must be a mistake. This can't be possible. When I read it first, I said, this can't be. You're talking about take your largest stadium and fill it up many times. That's what the kind of numbers are. Here today is Michael Copy, a small business owner who runs a dry cleaner and is struggling to get by because of what Kamala has done to his business. They've destroyed small businesses in this country. Michael, please.
I just want to say thank you, Mr. President, for affording me the opportunity and the high honor of joining you here today and sharing my small business story with you folks and the American people. So it's a chain of eco-friendly dry cleaners throughout the Tri-County here in West Palm. And it seems not too long ago, just a few years, the customer and us, the small business owner, we were able to keep up with inflation. There were resources available to us for expansion, or if you had a bad month, if there was something you needed to make up for, it seemed like the support was there. And now, just a few short years later, it seems like all of those resources have dried up. The support's no longer there. We had an expansion plan about 6 years ago that we had to pause because we have to wait for our customers now to catch up with the inflation, the supply chain issues still, because we as a small business, we can't double our price points, although the cost of doing business now is 2, 3, or 4 times what it was just a few years ago. So we've had to get creative. Our industry, probably 30% in the dry cleaning industry, never survived COVID. And just recently this summer, I was contacted, my wife and I, by another local dry cleaner here in West Palm. They were asking advice. So husband and wife been there for about 35 years. Their lease was up, and the landlord was doubling their rent, which would have meant that that's what they've been paying themselves for probably the better part of 20 years. So they had to make a decision. Do they hand the keys back, or do we get creative, work together, pool resources? And so what we did was we figured out the right price point for them, but we did their cleaning for them, at least until we figured it out. And so they were not able to pay their operations. They couldn't keep that going, but they were able to save their business by strategically partnering. And by the end of summer, I think I was contacted by about 12 other local dry cleaners saying, can you guys help us also, because we're going through the same thing. Thank you. And it seems now, so the delta between the reality of what inflation is right now and we have in front of us, the reality of that and the small business owners' capabilities, that delta is too great. So unless we effect change immediately, I fear that in the next few years, if we don't see that change, we might see another 30% of our industry and others no longer exist. So I just want to say thank you again, Mr. President, for allowing me to share my Go Green Dry Cleaner story, and thank you.
Thank you very much. We really helped a lot of people during the prime time of the China virus. And we helped a lot of people, and we did it intelligently. Then when they took over, they just threw money around like it was dirt. And as you know, the recent monster hurricane, Helene, just wiped out so much. If you look at the different states, North Carolina, Georgia, Alabama, South Carolina, Florida, Tennessee, it was just devastating. And the response was the worst since Katrina, but really a lot of people think it was much worse than Katrina. It's still, they haven't shown up. They're not in North Carolina. The people of North Carolina have suffered incredibly, and there's just nobody to help them. FEMA has been a total disaster. We had FEMA that was fantastic. when we did this, because we had our hurricanes too. We had some bad ones, but we did a great job with it. It's not there. And then you see that they, originally blamed, and then they tried to take it back, but it was a little late. But they said that the money was spent on bringing illegal migrants into our country. They spent close to $1 billion, and these were funds, that were spent. And you have to say, I was in North Carolina recently, and I looked at devastation that was just unbelievable. There was nobody there from the federal government.
Yeah,
The
those are
local
not
people
federal emergencies.
have done incredible things. Franklin Graham has done incredible things. He's been amazing. But there was nobody there. So we're pleased also to be joined by Christy Shamblin, person I know and I've gotten to know over the last year or so, the mother-in-law of fallen Marine Corps Sergeant Nicole G. Nicole made the ultimate sacrifice during the disastrous withdrawal. Not that we were withdrawing. I was going to withdraw, but we were withdrawing with dignity and strength and power, and we were going to keep Bagram, the big air base, because of the fact that it was so close to where China makes their nuclear weapons. 1 hour away. We should have kept it, and we didn't do that. But the way they withdrew, they took the soldiers out first. No, you take the soldiers out last. I went 18 months without one soldier. I spoke to Abdul, the leader of the Taliban. We went 18 months without one soldier even being shot at, no soldier being killed for 18 months. And then we left, and you had this group of incompetent people take over. Guys like Milley should have been fired. They should have been fired. Anybody that was involved with that disaster should have been fired. She was one of 13 U.S. service members who lost their lives. Kamala said she was the last person in the room, that Kamala was the last person in the room. She was involved in everything. She takes credit for that. She was involved in everything.
That's what she said.
That means she was involved in disaster after disaster, because nothing good has happened with this administration, except that our country has gone to almost a third world status. With Biden, when Biden made a decision, she said she was there. Oh, she was there. But the Afghanistan decision was a disaster in so many different ways. And now you take a look at it, they're right back to what they were doing before, except much worse to women. They're worse to women right now than they were even before it started. But Kamala never reached out to the family members of the warriors. And she said she was going to, but she never did. She never called anybody. And Christy, I'd like you to come up and say a few words, please.
Hi, good afternoon, good morning. My name is Christy Shamblin, and my daughter-in-law was Sergeant Nicole Leanne G., and she was killed in the botched Afghanistan exit at Abbey Gate. She was the cornerstone of a very large family. And instead of planning family gatherings and holiday meals and Christmases and baby showers, our family and thousands of other families plan outings at funeral grave sites, and that is where we as a family celebrate my daughter-in-law at Arlington National Cemetery, because she is in the ground. Her story isn't unique to our family, she's just ours. There are thousands and thousands and thousands of wounded veterans who came home from that war, who need our help and who are ignored by our current administration. President Trump demonstrates peace through strength. I know what he told the Taliban when he was negotiating with them, because I've made it my business to know. And what he said to them when he was negotiating with the Taliban, he said, "I will kill you if you harm one hair on one head of an American."
You're not going in, Vladimir.
President Trump shows up, he reaches out, and he can fix our country, and we can all heal together.
Thank you very much. It's so sad. So many cases like this. Nobody should have died. First of all, when they left, the soldiers should have been there. They shouldn't have been home watching, except for a small group, and many of them got killed, and large numbers. Nobody ever mentions the arms, the legs missing, gone, the face just obliterated. Nobody talks about them. I talk about them all the time. But I want to thank you, Christy, and we'll carry Nicole's memory in our hearts forever. The full consequences of Kamala's 4-year reign are almost too terrible to discuss or contemplate. We're coming to the end of a great campaign. I think we've had a great campaign.
China.
We've really not been provided the kind of protection that I needed as president, but I said we have to do it anyway. When Secret Service would ask for additional people, oftentimes we would be turned down. They were constantly asking for additional people. And I found Secret Service to be very brave. When I was hit and went down, they were right on top of me within seconds. I tell you what, those bullets were flying right over my head. I heard them. And these guys were right. I don't know how they didn't get hit, actually, but they were right there. You take a look at the video. One thing we would say, the video is there for people to see, but they were never given the kind of help that they requested, because our rallies were massively large and they needed more people, and they were always fighting for more people, and it was never given to them. Now they're being given, I hope, what they need, but we were, that was a constant fight. They'd come to me and they'd say, you guys don't want to give us the people. And yet Biden was covered and they'd have like 2 people show up. But Kamala is grossly incompetent, a total train wreck who has destroyed everything in her path. She's destroyed everything. She left 21 million aliens pour across our country, and then she, maybe in a short while, has to go home and she'll get herself a job someplace, who knows. But think about it, and she can look at the carnage, and she can look at all the people that have been killed. And you haven't seen anything yet, because they've just started. They're just getting comfortable in our country. These are very tough people. These criminals make our criminals look like nice people. And she let the more than 13,000 convicted illegal aliens, nobody would have let these people into our country. And remember, they came out of the worst prisons in the world, the meanest, nastiest prisons in the world. And when she says that she wouldn't do anything different, does that mean that she would have let 325,000 migrant children probably die, most of them, many of them? But at a minimum, they're slaves or they're sex slaves. And they're all over the country. Does that mean that she wouldn't have changed that? Does that mean that she wouldn't have changed so many of the other things that led to so much death and destruction and even financial destruction of our country itself? We could end up in a depression because of what she's left with us.
Get down.
They are the worst combination president, vice president in the history of our country. And I often say Jimmy Carter's a happy man because his administration, by comparison, was totally brilliant. It was brilliant.
Damn.
After Kamala endorsed defunding the police, she bailed out rioters, looters, and murderers, took them right out of jail during the violent crimes in the United States. Remember,
China.
That was in Minnesota. Minneapolis was burning down. It was burning to the ground. I watched the CNN announcer say, "This is a friendly group of people." And over his shoulder, the entire skyline was burning. I've never seen it. But that's the fake news. But violent crime in the United States is up 37%. All of these different crimes are up anywhere from 37 to 105% over a very short period of time. And it's almost like nobody even cares about it. Very simply, Kamala Harris is not fit to be your president. We can't have it happen. We can't have it happen. We're going to make this country strong again. We're going to make it great again. We're going to be respected again. Her message has been a message of hate and division. And my message is about saving our economy, securing our border, bringing together the greatest and broadest coalition in American history. There's never been a coalition like this. Everybody's included. And on issue after issue, she broke it. They broke it together. But for purposes of this election, she broke it. Can't let her go. And I'm going to fix it, and I'm going to fix it very fast.
It's in the back.
And on the illegal, thank you very much. Thank you very much. On the illegal immigrants that will be taken out of the country, as you know, we're going to be taking them out. And if they come back, we have laws that will be immediately enacted where they serve 10 years in prison. They won't come back. And if that's not long enough, we'll have to do something else. But we don't want them back. They're not going to come
That's
back.
going to deter. That will deter them.
And as you know, we're asking for the death penalty for any migrant who comes into our country and kills an American citizen or a police or law enforcement person.
Tough on crime, baby.
Because we have to protect our police. Our police are under siege also at numbers that nobody thought were possible, the worst they've ever seen. It's very hard to recruit. And really for not just the danger, it's hard to recruit because they don't have the spirit anymore for our country because they're being led with people that are spiritless. They really are spiritless. They can't instill spirit. But so that's any citizen, they get killed, it's a death penalty, and that includes police or law enforcement officers. But we're going to revive our economy. We're going to use a system of very fair, very reasonable tariffs. As I said, so powerful. We've never used them. I used them. China paid us hundreds of billions of dollars. Hundreds of billions of dollars. And no other president's gotten 10 cents from China. China had a free ride, but so did many other countries. European Union is taking advantage of us. They don't take our product, and yet we take their product all over the place. We take their farming product. We take their cars left and right, right? BMW, Mercedes-Benz, Volkswagen, millions and millions. They don't take our cars. I said to Angela Merkel at the time, Angela, how many Chevrolets do we have in Berlin? Why? I don't believe you have any. I said, you're right about that, Angela. Well, we're going to change it. But they don't take our product. We have a deficit with them of over $300 billion. Think of that. And people think of them as friendly, but they're very tough and very, very fair. I mean, look, they united in order to take advantage of the United States. That's why they united. That's why they formed their coalition. And that was done to take advantage of the United States. So we know how to take advantage of them. We're going to take it back. We're going to take it all back. Those countries, many of those companies will be coming back. They'll be coming back because when they're told that they're going to have to pay a 25% tariff or a 50% or 100%, we saved our steel industry when I imposed large tariffs on China steel coming in. They were dumping steel here by millions and millions and millions of yards of steel like nobody's ever seen. Our steel businesses were going out of business. We can't lose our steel industry. If for no other reason, our own security. We need steel. If we'd go to war, we're not going to go to war. We're not going to have World War III. But if we ever go to war, you better hope that we have a steel industry, or those beautiful tanks and everything else that we need to make won't be made. The planes, tanks, the whole thing.
Time right now.
And I saved it by imposing tariffs. They were dumping it. I think they were dumping it in order to destroy every steel plant would have been closed if I didn't do what I did.
He's in Florida.
And we happen to be taking in, billions of dollars. In fact, it's so good that Biden has been trying his best to end it, but he's unable to do it. Too much money. It's been too much money. They're paying a fortune. But I would have had it a lot different. And we'll get along with China. We'll get along with Russia. We'll get along with everybody. We had the fake Russia hoax, which took 2 years. And then they came out with a report that we did absolutely nothing wrong. And that was a stacked deck, too. The people doing it, they couldn't say there was nothing. We had nothing. They checked millions of phone calls, not one call made to Russia, not one call. It was a terrible thing they did to the country and actually put us in a lot of danger, to be honest with you. I didn't have somewhat of a relationship with Russia and Putin and all. We had to have it. And by the way, getting along with President Xi and Putin and Kim Jong-un of North Korea. If you remember when I met with Obama, his wife was very nasty to me the other day. Oh, that was not nice. She was very nasty. She said nasty things. I was always very respectful of her, but she got up there, which shows you how nervous they are about what's happening. But she was nasty 2 days ago. She got up and said some bad things she shouldn't have said. They were wrong too. But we're going to turn our country around, and
He gonna get back on her later. He ain't gonna say nothing today, but
we're going to
November
pay a
7th
lot of
is on.
respect to the three representatives, because that's what they are. They're representatives of millions of people. I mean, so many businesses are just dying right now. There are millions and millions of people. They're representative of, and our wounded and our hurt soldiers. We have to take care of them. They came back from Afghanistan. Boy, nobody talks about them. They just don't talk about them.
I'm gonna holler at Trump right here. I'm finna go try to find some information about these polls, see what's going on. This last coverage, well, it was live. It won't be live if you look at it. If you find any of this content valuable, like, share, subscribe. Remember, first thing first, love yourself, treat yourself, don't beat yourself, love yourself. Holla. Hold on.
But we have to take care of our military. Think of this. Soldiers who are waiting 6 months.
We out. Holla.